When the beat drops, you know exactly what time it is. Hello and welcome to another playoff edition of the Blitz. David, remember when people were projecting this team to win just 3 games?
I remember that. Now I remember us picking like 6 or 7 wins for Tampa Bay.
Pretty good prediction.
I thought it was a good prediction too, but now we're kind of looking like losers because the Buccaneers, 2 wins away from the Super Bowl. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe that. It has been a heck of a ride, and now we got to break down this matchup in Detroit today. So let's just jump right to it. This is the 10 to 10, the 10 most important storylines you need to know before kickoff in Ford Field at 3 o'clock. Let's discuss how we got here. The Buccaneers blasted the Philadelphia Eagles inside Ray J to the tune of a 32-9 score. It was the largest playoff blowout for this franchise since Super Bowl 37. Meanwhile, the Lions played the closest game in the first round, edging LA 24-23. It was the first playoff victory since 1991 for the city of Detroit, snapping a 30-plus year drought. That was just Detroit's second postseason victory since 1970. They are 2-12 since that year, and one of the losses was back in Tampa in 1997. It's the only playoff meeting between these two squads, with the Bucs getting a 20-10 win under second-year head coach Tony Dungy.
But now, this game will be played in Detroit, a place where the Lions have only lost twice this season. The crowd is going to be electric, and reports indicate it was as loud as a jet engine in that building.
What?
I said it was as loud as a jet engine.
You want a contract extension?
No. Hey. Roll the video. I forgot.
Turn that down.
Goodness gracious. At number 9, what the Bucs are going to have to face in that building is no joke. Baker Mayfield called on his friends on the Rams to ask what it was like to play in that atmosphere. The team has been practicing its silent communication all week. There's only one way to turn down the dial in Detroit, and that is create big plays.
We got to be completely ready for that. It just comes down to everybody knowing exactly what our game plan is, all the calls to and from, because there could be certain times that they might not hear certain things. They might have to plug and play some of the words.
I don't expect to go there and to completely silence the crowd, in the first drive, right? Like they've been waiting for this moment for so long.
You know, David, there's a common theme trickling out of the locker room with this playoff run, and it's right here. Revenge tour.
Yeah, the Bucs overcame their Week 3 loss to the Eagles on Monday night. Now they're looking to do the same thing with their Week 6 loss to the Lions. At number 8, let's revisit that matchup. Next to Baker's performance in Carolina, his game against the Lions was probably his worst of the season. It was a 20-6 loss, just like in Carolina. No touchdown scored by Tampa Bay. Bad turnover deep in his own territory. They missed a few deep shots, and on top of that, the Bucs had some drops, some blown coverages, missed tackles. Tampa Bay went 2 for 12 on third down. Detroit went 9 for 16.
Meanwhile, at number 7, let's talk about Jared Goff, because he was fantastic that day. Threw for 353 yards, didn't turn the ball over. In fact, Goff does pretty well against Todd Bowles overall. In 3 career games, 2 which date back to his time with the Rams, Goff is 2-1, has more than 1,100 yards, but here's the kicker: 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And maybe he's solid against Bowles because the man loves the blitz, and Goff actually does well under duress this season, including the playoffs, that one game. He ranks top 5 in yards per dropback, completion percentage, and passing touchdowns, David.
Wow. At number 6, let's talk about number 6, because entering that game against Philly, we were worried about Baker Mayfield's ribs and his ankle. All he did was become the first quarterback in Bucs history to throw north of 300 yards and 3 scores in a playoff game. Only Tom Brady had a better passer rating in a postseason matchup for the Bucs, and that was Super Bowl 55.
Is that good?
That is good. When the stakes are the highest, Baker seems to lock in, Evan.
And we all know he likes to go up in a situation that revealed itself this week. At number 5, the battle between these two teams began earlier in the week. We all know C.J. Gardner-Johnson from his time playing with the Saints. He had no problems getting in Brady's face back in the day. Well, this week, he threw a different kind of jab or taunt to Baker Mayfield, telling the Detroit Free Press, quote, "If you give the Tampa wide receiver group a good quarterback, that's a great group." He even mentioned Russell Gage, which gave Baker a good laugh.
I don't think he's really watched film because you mentioned Russell Gage. You know, we love Russell, but Russell hasn't played a snap all year for us. He must be going off the preseason stuff that the media was talking about, but he didn't play our first game, so I'm excited to see him. I think he's a really good player, but yeah, he's got to do a little bit more film study.
Gardner-Johnson then saw his response on social media and fired off "I do watch film. Ask the QB before you, my guy. iPad situation number 2 loading." He has since taken the post down, but we got the receipts, David.
Yeah, screenshots live forever, my guy. Don't give an underdog more ammunition. That's all I got to say there. At number 4, men who are not named Mike Evans or Chris Godwin stepped up big time on Monday night. Tampa Bay's 3 leading receivers were Cade Otton, David Moore, and Trey Palmer. Otton probably had his best game ever with 8 catches for 89 yards. Moore and Palmer broke off massive touchdowns. Huge performance by all of them. So let's bring in our wide receiver number 1, James Yarko, for our Locked On Bucs burning question of the week. James, it was nice to see the depth step up against the Eagles. Can the Bucs realistically win in similar fashion, or does the team have to find ways for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to get more involved?
I mean, I don't think they're going to have the kind of success against Detroit that they did against Philadelphia, using guys like David Moore and Trey Palmer. And it's not to say that those guys won't be used, but once you get to the divisional round, the championship round, the Super Bowl, your stars need to be your stars, right? You need to lean on the guys that got you there. You take a look at the Detroit Lions over the course of the last 4 weeks. They're allowing an average of 185.25 yards and a touchdown to opposing teams' number 1 wide receiver. Mike Evans hasn't surpassed the 90-yard mark in 6 weeks. So this is the perfect opportunity for the Bucs to lean on their star in Mike Evans. He is going to be set up to have a huge game. This is a game where they have to lean on Mike Evans. They have to lean on Chris Godwin. Still use Cade Otton. Still use Rachaad White. You pick your spots for David Moore and Trey Palmer and Devin Tompkins in those contributors. But if the Bucs are going to win this game, it's going to be because numbers 13 and 14 have big days against a bad Lions secondary.
Thank you so much, James. And look, with Tampa Bay making a run into the playoffs, our friends at Smack Apparel, of course, had to make a cool new shirt for the occasion.
Yeah, that's right. It's simple math here, because if you can see here, that's what Detroit's going to have to find out, because the more they fuck around, the more they find out.
That's how it goes, especially defensively at number 3. This was a masterclass game plan from Todd Bowles and company against Philly. Casey Rogers said earlier in the week they were breaking out concepts they haven't dusted off since their days with the Jets. The Eagles did not convert a single third down, just the 4th time ever that's happened in postseason history. And keep an eye on the second half defense. In their last 5 games have only given up 3 tutties, with 2 of them in the blowout win to Jacksonville.
That's a good segue into 2, which is Todd Bowles being safe this season. There were still rumblings that his job could be on the line with a loss to the Eagles, but it's clear after taking his team to the divisional round, Todd Bowles will be back next season as the head coach. Now, Dave Canales, different story. Got interviewed for the head coaching gig in Carolina, so other changes could be coming, but we're going to cross that bridge when we get there.
And let me say this about Bowles, David. The man needs some more respect from the fan base, because he has been hounded all year long. And look, I've called him out multiple times on occasion, so, I don't think I'm not calling myself out here either. But I want to recognize what he has done with this group.
I mean, take a look at this, right? Barely in cap space, projected to win 3 games, like we said earlier, double-digit rookies on the roster. These players never quit. They lost 6 of 7 at one point, never quit. That's a testament to Bowles.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he deserves a lifetime contract here, but you got to give credit where credit is due. It was really an impressive job by him.
It truly was. At number 1, there are some connections between these 2 teams. Lions GM Brad Holmes is a Tampa native, a former homecoming king at Chamberlain High School. Larry Foote and Will Golston are both Detroit natives. Also, legendary coach Tom Moore was an OC for Detroit back in the 90s. Earlier this week, I caught up with Will Golston about his childhood in Detroit, and as you'll learn in this week's edition of The One Buck, he was not your average Motor City kid. William Golston is one of the longest tenured Bucks. But before becoming a Super Bowl champion in Tampa Bay, he grew up in Detroit, and he understands the passion for the hometown team.
I've never not met a diehard Lions fan my whole life. No matter the record, I've never not met one fan who's from Detroit and they're a Lions fan that's not a diehard. Although
Golston himself is not a diehard Lions fan, he preferred animated competitors.
Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Angry Beavers, Gundam. A lot of people don't know about Gundam.
He also loved working out with his cartoons.
I took the bed out of my room, put a couch in there, a weight bench, and I had a TV on my dresser.
You heard that right. A weight bench in his bedroom.
It's one of my closest friends. His name is Walter. To this day, I remember we was trying to get you to walk around and play in the neighborhood. You was like, no, I gotta lift these weights. It's crazy. But it turned out to be good for me, son.
It did turn out good, as Golston became a star at Southeastern High School and then Michigan State. When looking back, Golston finds joy in his journey.
It's great to be able to say I'm from Detroit, made it out of Detroit, and I made it in the NFL, not to the NFL.
And he can make some die-hard Lions fans upset come Sunday afternoon.
All right, let's wrap this puppy up with the all-out blitz. We got one game today on 10 Tampa Bay, and that's the Chiefs taking on the Bills at 6:30. So flip that channel once the Bucs game is over. As for our blitz picks record, I am on a heater, up 2 games on David. We both picked the Bucs to win last week, so good on us calling that upset victory. Do we have the clam chowder again to do it again? I do not, David. I really want to. I think this is a close game. I got the Bucs covering, but I'm afraid Tampa Bay, they're going to come up short in like a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 scenario where they just got to get it with the run and they get stuffed. Give me 24-20 Detroit.
Yeah, and this is a game where the Bucs really have to bring their own juice. We talked about it earlier. It's going to be insanely loud in that stadium. I do think that swings things in Detroit's favor. I've got 28-14. The separation happens late in that ball game to put it away.
All right. Well, let me tell you this. You should tune in to 10 Tampa Bay tonight at 11 for your full coverage of this game. Your boy is going to be reporting from Ford Field. This man is going to be holding down the fort in studio. That is David Shealy. I am Evan Klosky. This is The Blitz. We will see you same time, same place next week with a win or a loss. More Bright Side coming up after the break.